let's get into some of these quarterbacks because I'm really curious, Mike. How much work you do work in the offseason, right? Like you evaluate the kids coming into the year. A lot of people I really respect had a first-round grade on Sam Howell coming into the year. He went in the 5th round, Mike. Wasn't injured. How does that happen? How do you guys, and maybe you're going to tell me you didn't, but how do you watch the video of him in freshman and sophomore year, say he's a first-round pick, he plays a whole season, and then he's a 5th-round pick? How does that happen?
Because he didn't fall there because of his tape. Now, the tape wasn't good this year, but even still, it was not 5th-round tape. He fell there because of his interviews. From all that I've heard, was not good on a whiteboard, was not good with protections, blitz recognition, those sort of things just did not impress anyone. And I think a lot of these quarterbacks fell just because there weren't a lot of landing spots. There weren't many teams really. If you're drafting a guy with a top 50 pick, you're putting him in that starter conversation, or at least to challenge your starter. And no one was really willing to do that. And so when you have a guy who's as far behind the learning curve as Sam Howell was reportedly, from what I've heard, I just think teams were willing to go elsewhere, even though that the sophomore tape was great. Like it was 1st-round tape. And that was, none of these other guys were putting up near what he did as a true sophomore at North Carolina. So I still was a fan of his. I would have taken him before, any of those guys, a lot of those guys that went in the 3rd round, to where I think the Washington Commanders, where they got him, have to be really, really happy.
That's really interesting, Mike. I had not heard that about Sam Howell in the interview process. I did see some reports of some concerns about erratic behavior from Matt Corral. I think Ian Rappaport said that during the draft. What about Malik Willis? I mean, these are the times where I almost feel like, Mike, we're being lied to. I mean, so many people said, oh, the talent, the upside, top 10 pick, top 20 pick. Then he doesn't go till the 3rd round. Was that a team meeting thing as well, or were we lied to? Like, how does that happen?
That one is the one I can't explain. I think he is talented. Like there's no doubt about it. You flip on his tape for five plays, and you'll see a cannon of an arm. You'll see elite rushing ability. He's probably the 2nd best runner at the quarterback position in the NFL right now. And the biggest thing with him, though, is the learning curve. It is just literally the offense he played in is not going to have anything to do with the offense he plays in at the NFL. Just nothing similar whatsoever there at Liberty. So the learning curve. So if you're taking him high, you're probably waiting 2 to 3 years for him to even see the football field. And then the offense he's going to have to run. So it's not like Jalen Hurts in that manner, who, is going to be able to hit the field quickly despite maybe having limited physical tools, who's also, a runner at the position. But then once he does hit the league, once he does start, the offense he's going to run is going to look like maybe a couple of offenses around the NFL. It's going to look like what the Ravens do with Lamar Jackson. Because if you're not taking advantage of that, you're doing it wrong. He can't just come in and say say even the Titans where he went and do the exact same thing you're going to do with Ryan Tannehill. It's going to have to be unique to him. And not a lot of teams are willing to do that for a backup, have a special package of plays, have a special offense just for their backup to come in. So I think that was the biggest, if I'm going to pinpoint any reason he fell, it would be that.